But also, any other
See,
questions,
but this
my
is
dude?
the post-ironic problem.
No!
I mean,
Shut the
that
f***
was
up!
the
Shut
point.
up! Shut up! Okay? I am telling you! I am telling you!
Go to the...
I am telling you, I have meaningful relationships with human beings. I'm not a character all the time!
What you just saw was a powerful culmination of a lot of wild, entertaining, sad, and confusing moments. And if you'll come along with me, I'd like to take you on a journey of how we got here and what this all means. The chaos that unfolded when JREG showed up on Destiny's Anything Else podcast made Destiny himself state that the episode will never be posted on YouTube because of the insanity it contains. But luckily, I was watching live, and I've collected the most important moments in order to analyze them. And you can let me know if I'm onto something or way off base. But stick with me, because there's some really important stories to tell here. Before we dive in, let's meet our intrepid cast of characters. Meet JREG, a political satirist and hilarious content creator with a heart of gold. Meet Dan, a proud Jewish man who... Never mind, Dan's not important. Meet Destiny, political commentator, ex-gamer, and current debate Giga Chad who definitely never gets too unhinged. Actually, can we pull up that previous photo? Is it just me, or did Destiny's face used to be way longer? Well, guess what? I checked, and by perspective matching the image and doing some size correction, ensuring the eyes are aligned, which notoriously do not change size by more than a few millimeters after the age of 20, as verified in this NIH study, I've overlaid the images and concluded that they do not show a shortening of Destiny's face. I guess it's just an optical illusion. But why did I just bring that up? Am I crazy, schizo, obsessed, making a cringe joke? Or am I just being ironic? Do I even like Destiny with a video title like this? Did I actually think that Andrew Tate's therapy session was surprisingly enlightening? Is everything ironic? Or is nothing ironic? Or is everything a mix of both? Well, JREG himself sure knows a thing about irony. In fact, he is possibly one of the most irony-poisoned individuals I've ever seen on the internet. But I do love JREG. Truly, I'm a fan. I think he's hands down one of the most honest and self-aware content creators I've ever seen. Which means that while he is irony-poisoned, he is also keenly aware of said irony poisoning. In fact, he released the de facto video on the stages of irony over 4 years ago. But JREG's irony is not impossible to distinguish, at least not all the time. But it is very difficult, and no one, not even JREG himself, can decipher it 100% consistently. I think this clip summarizes the entire situation very well and will provide enough background context for the podcast we're about to go through.
If I say, oh, you look good right now, but I don't even know what I mean when I say it, and you don't know what I mean when you say it, then that's meta-irony. I'm muddling the ironic way that I'm saying it with the fact that I have no fucking clue what I'm speaking about. It's not that when employing meta-irony, the author legitimately, doesn't know what he's saying, but the way it's conveyed makes it so that it's not really possible to get to a sincere underlying layer of what they're trying to say.
So from this clip, we can clearly tell some information about JREG here. We can tell that he's actually a centrist who struggles with being a centrist and has played the character of an anti-centrist for so long that he is having a difficult time distinguishing between his sincere views and that of the character he plays. JREG is not irony poisoned so much as to render what he says meaningless, but he is irony poisoned enough that you have to have background familiarity with his channel enough to glean his true beliefs. Otherwise, to you, it will seem meaningless. And this is why this podcast was a complete disaster and why the audience members had absolutely no idea how to interpret it. But each are individually convinced that they have the right interpretation. This guy is convinced that this is simply JREG having a manic episode, which holds merit because JREG does have bipolar disorder. This guy is convinced that JREG is apathetic and cares about nothing. This guy is convinced that JREG is taking the piss at the Anything Else podcast. This guy is convinced that it's a bit that JREG is playing. This guy is convinced that Destiny and Dan are the ones doing a bit on JREG. This guy notes that JREG wipes away a tear at one point in the episode and is therefore being sincere. So out of all the replies I can find on Reddit, an equal amount of people seem to think that A, it's a manic episode, B, it's a bit that everyone is in on, C, it's JREG trying to make fun of Destiny and his podcast, D, it's a bit that only JREG is in on, E, it's Dan and Destiny trying to play a bit on JREG before he can play a bit on them, F, it's a bit being played by both parties on one another with neither party being sure of what's a bit and what's not, or G, a mix of all of the above. In my opinion, it's G, but we'll get into that. This guy, in my opinion, is closest to the truth. JREG is at moments ironic, at moments sincere, and at moments genuinely upset. And as I was writing this script, JREG just released a video titled, I'm Ending the Bit. In it, JREG sincerely expresses distress at the confusion his bits have caused, but rather predictably goes into a bit for the second half of the video. But I think the fact that video was released shortly after this podcast episode is a clear indication that what happens here is part bit, part mental unwellness, part sincere, and part anything else. But enough preamble, let's dive into it. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button and toss me a little subby. Just a little subby, that's all I ask. I have 500 subs and 9 kids to feed, so the sub to child ratio is just not where it needs to be. I can't afford to feed Lily, Billy, Dave, Maeve, Aiden, Caden, Hayden, Jaden, and Hezekiah at this rate, okay?
With us today, we have a special guest who's promised that he's not going to troll me at all for the entire show, although we will see if that holds to be true or not. Why don't you introduce yourself? Okay, so.
Hello. Hi. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello. It's me. And I'm here. And I'm with Destiny and Dan. And I'm on the Anything Else podcast. And my name is JREG.
Dan is already skeptical that this will go smoothly, and JREG slides right into intentional awkwardness. JREG begins with what I'd call humorous dishonesty, which Dan calls out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm from Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Yeah.
What specifically do you bind with in Kazakh culture?
The caves.
The caves.
Kazakh caves. Nothing like them.
What do you think of the food out there? I've been there. Where have you ever been?
Well, only when I was a baby, so I don't really remember anything from it.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, I like it a lot, but it's like a very racist culture. You know that, right?
I'm not. No, I mean, you know, they have their nationalism certainly.
It feels like you're getting a little weirded out by. You should take pride in this. That's on their flag, the national flag.
I mean, I guess, are you saying the racism is like embedded into my cultural DNA or something?
The flag is literally "We will kill our neighbors."
I'll be honest. I don't know anything about Kazakhstan.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Neither do I.
Hi. Are you serious or just him? Yeah. How did you fall for that?
This is embarrassing.
I don't want to be seen as over-analyzing things like body language, but I can't help but note JREG swaying back and forth nervously. JREG posted a video once of him going through a manic episode, and then he reacted to the filmed manic episode. His mannerisms and way of talking here can't help but remind me of that video. So I don't want to play armchair psychologist, I just want to point out that JREG has filmed a manic episode before, and his behavior there reminds me on some level of what's happening here. I could be drawing inferences where I shouldn't be, I freely admit that, I just think it's important to keep that in mind for context. JREG was actually on Bridges, Destiny's other podcast he hosts with Erudite a few hours earlier, and his demeanor and speech patterns were utterly different on Bridges. Of course, this doesn't mean he isn't playing a character, but just something to take note of as we go forward. Anyway, Destiny and Dan get wrapped up in some nonsense conversation, and JREG sits there silently, something we'll see a lot of, and Destiny and Dan get a bit aggressive toward him, but it seems to be a just busting your chops kind of way.
They're the bad guys too.
Yes.
And kids are bad guys.
Yep.
Okay.
do
So
you
when
think
that
about that?
10-year-old girl who
We're
died
doing it
to the
again.
pages.
We got a guest here, and they're mad.
Oh yeah. What do you want to talk about?
How about you?
Yeah, JREG. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, JREG.
I'm not mad. I was observing.
No, why
didn't-
don't
we
you just
didn't
say
say
something?
you were-
You're
we didn't say you were
communicating
mad.
disinterest with your body language, okay? And you look very irritated. So, and they're going to complain if we don't include you. So go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
Hawk Twa.
Hey, who are you talking to right
You're
now?
not even
The chat
saying
said
it correct.
Dreg say Hawk
I can't hear you when you're. Yeah, no.
Should Dreg say Hawk Twa?
What do you
Okay.
think about the Haktua podcast?
Okay.
I don't have
First
any
of all,
opinions.
okay. Do you know what that is?
They're laughing at you now. They think you're an idiot.
Well, I mean, he may be if he doesn't actually know.
Twa.
What is it?
It's you went. It's like, you know, it's Hawk Twa, and then you spit on that thing.
JREG then pretends for far too long to not know who the Hawk Tua girl is until Dan asks him directly.
Do you not actually know? It's okay if you don't. I can tell you, and then you'll know and you'll be smarter.
He's being ironic, Dan. Can't you tell?
Of course, I know the Hawk Twa.
Okay.
We all know the Hawk Twa. But moving on.
Destiny dryly and possibly with a bit of disdain said that JREG was being ironic, and we get our first hint at why this goes so disastrously. Lying about living in Kazakhstan, pretending to not know who the Hawk Tua girl is, and coupled with JREG's notoriety of being an ironic person, has set Destiny and Dan on edge. No one wants to be the sucker. No one wants to be tricked into taking something someone says ironically as being sincere, and so the result is that even when JREG tries to be sincere, Destiny and Dan won't bite for fear of being made the fool of. They don't want to be the naive person who didn't get the joke. And this isn't mere speculation. Destiny has said this himself after the show, and this paranoia of Destiny and Dan's that everything is a bit, as opposed to just some things, becomes more and more evident until it leads to utter calamity.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not real.
Huh. See, I'm credulous. That's my problem.
You said that word like 7 times today. You use it way too much.
It's a good word.
Not that good.
I use the word credulous too much.
You're treating it like a $10,000 word that you found on sale for like
That's
50
the bit
bucks.
for today's show.
It's like a $100 word that you found on sale for like $75.
Is that the bit for today's show?
What's the bit?
He's going to say credulous as many times as possible.
Why? Has he already said it?
No, that's not the bit.
Oh, like, did he say it
sure?
before this?
That wouldn't be a very good bit.
If I hear you say it again, I'm going to know it's the bit. And you're going to say it at increasingly more frequent rates as we go on, aren't you?
The bit's flexible.
Okay, so now you can't do it at increasingly additional rates as we go on, can you?
No.
You can think of a new bit on the fly.
Dan is hunting for the bit. Again, no one wants to be the butt of a joke. So Dan and Destiny are on high alert and seem to want to fuck with Dreg before Dreg can fuck with them. Then, Destiny gives him a hard time over Dr. Disrespect, but it seems lighthearted still.
You know who the doc is, yeah?
Dr. Disrespect.
That's the guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know that one. I know that through Gokinaru, who's my friend from the studio, where he talks about drama content.
Oh.
That's what makes me culturally literate in this field, is a guy that I know.
He's a dude. Talked with some kids.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that he talked to some kids, and I'm not supposed to like that, and I don't.
Oh, like he thinks that he's being unfairly maligned. Like I'm not supposed to like that. Like I'm supposed to be mad that he just wanted to talk to a 15-year-old about his dick.
Is that what happened?
That's
don't
what
know.
you're communicating right now with your body language.
But the tone starts to become a bit more hostile when Dreg makes a joke and everyone sits in awkward silence.
I hear the Zionists even got to Israel. It's like Jews all the way down. If you look at the government of Israel, it's like all Jews.
Now, I understand this is still lighthearted, but the tension is starting to mount. The teasing is playful, but there is, in my opinion, some legitimate uncomfortability starting to rise up in Dreg.
Brogan's, I sometimes look at his Instagram feed and it's like all just, but it's also cute animals. So it's like 50-50, like
I don't
really,
think
really
that's
cute
true.
animals.
Are you lying to
No,
us
that's
right now?
true. That's true.
So his Instagram is half,
Yeah.
which they don't allow on Instagram.
No, they've started. It's just like
So you're lying to us
view
again.
sensitive content. I mean, wasn't that the whole thing? Is like you could see all
View
the,
sensitive
Well, was
content.
it? What do you mean? Wasn't that the whole thing? Are you telling us or asking us?
I mean, you guys didn't hear about this? Like you see all the.
You know, you scratch your nose when you do a little bit of lying.
Yeah, you do. Careful, I can make whatever Jew joke I want because he's my Jewish friend.
That is how it works.
He's vetted all of them ahead of time.
I got all the Cuban jokes ready to go also.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Yeah, what do you
Canadian jokes? Those are worth like a dime a
Yikes.
dozen. Not good.
Yikes.
I can use all the slurs from all my ethnicities.
Okay, let's hear them.
Wow.
Well, I mean, he fakes his ethnicities too.
Oh yeah, I bet you're not even Jewish.
I haven't seen what I need to see to know.
Can we quit? Can I quiz you to see if you're really Jewish?
Prayer of wine.
Yash.
No. Okay.
Okay, I'll try a little easier. Let's say that you loan me $5,000 at 6% interest compounding annually, okay, over 3 years. What would I owe you at the end of that? Unbelievable.
Really?
So, as you can see, this is a hilarious episode. It's uncomfortable, but also hilarious. But I think Destiny and Dan are shit-testing Dreg a bit too hard in order to one-up what they perceive to be a constant bit. Dreg then asks for 30 seconds of silence, and well, it happens. I think this request might have been an honest one. I think Dreg is starting to get a bit agitated and is trying to calm himself down.
You ready now?
I really want to like take 30 seconds to get ready, but then your views would plummet because the chat can't stand the silence of their own thoughts.
My chat is actually very introspective, and they can stand tons of silence.
Okay,
and
so
they've all-
you won't mind if we take 30 seconds?
We can take 30 seconds to be silent.
You don't know who you're talking to. He does this to us weekly.
Okay, give me 30
Daily.
seconds.
Okay. Are you serious right now? Oh my God, Dan can't do it.
Sorry, I just
Dan
wanted to watch
couldn't
this
do it.
house clip really
Okay,
quick.
all right. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
Destiny then starts making Dreg watch many Hasan clips. Many Hasan, not Mehdi Hasan. That's a different Hasan, which Dreg is clearly, vocally, not engaged in, but it keeps happening for a long time. And when Destiny starts getting into the discussion, his skepticism kicks in again, and he repeats that he can't tell if Dreg is being sincere.
Seems a tad hypocritical, right?
Heard.
So, for instance, like people can say, like, "Oh, no ethical consumption or capitalism." That's true when you're like a plumber making $45,000 a year with 4 kids, right? And it's like, okay, well, this guy doesn't have a choice.
Okay.
But like, I feel like
Wait. Just okay. Well,
Yeah.
what should he do instead?
Does he believe in what he says, or does he
Well,
not?
yeah, that's the first question. The first question is, does he actually believe in what he says? Because if he believes in what he says, it seems very hard. Like I have the opinion. Oh, hold on.
Take a step back.
Well, I'm trying not to get too seriously invested because I don't know if either of you are being serious.
I'm
being serious.
genuine.
I'll let you know. You know when I'm not already.
I'm curious.
We get more Hasan talk, and Destiny and Dan push Dreg for an answer. Dreg gives a sincere answer, but then paints it in a strong coat of his usual irony, in this case, post-irony, where he actually does seem to agree with what Destiny is saying, but Destiny scoffs at this because he can't tell how engaged Dreg is in this. We get even more Hasan talk, and Dreg gives another ironic response.
But when you're making your money off of a system that you are the embodiment of, the critique of, and like the main benefactor of, that's like really insane to me, I think.
I've changed my mind. I don't care for this Hasan guy very much.
Did you like him before?
Yeah, we debated him out of it. True.
Yes, I loved him. I was actually a big Hasan fan.
Really? When?
Now I'm why? Because of his opinions about capitalism.
What do you not like about capitalism?
The labor theory of value.
But then, when pushed, he goes back to sincerity. See, it is possible to push Dreg for sincerity, but Destiny and Dan don't seem to think that's possible.
I feel like, you know who I was talking to right now? It's kind of like a male version of Casey Tron. It's like, I don't know who am I getting real answers here, or am I just getting funny thoughts? Where's the real Dreg inside there?
Well, if you wanted me to deconstruct what I just did there, I don't think about Hasan at all, but I needed to have a strong opinion to
does.
keep the bit going.
Okay.
So I just pretended like I had some thoughts about it.
And see, this clearly shows that there's a mix here. Destiny and Dan are ultra paranoid about being the schmuck who engages sincerely with someone who is actually being insincere. But this shows it's possible to get sincerity out of Dreg and to discern between the irony and the sincerity. But because of being put on edge by both Dreg's reputation for irony and the irony he's diving into, I don't think Destiny or Dan are confident enough to reliably tell the difference in a way that would enable them to have a serious conversation. We then get to this exchange.
So that
What are your thoughts about it? About a guy that claims to be like the fucking people's
Sounds like
champion?
he doesn't have thoughts
that makes,
about it. He just doesn't
He
give a
does
fuck.
have thoughts because I'm telling you right now. How would you feel about a dude that makes a fuck ton of money,
Okay, what I can tell you is I think
like a preacher?
Yeah, okay,
That
gotcha.
gets $1 billion jets or whatever, right?
And f***s kids.
All that shit. Okay.
is that serious?
Yeah, preacher. You don't think Catholic priests have ever f***ed kids?
Oh, okay. I thought we were still talking about Hasan.
No.
No, Jesus
we're
Christ.
using an example. To
My
you, not,
God.
No, not a kid. Just
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. This is a very stressful environment to be in.
Jesus.
Listen. Okay.
Be more ironic.
I think this is also sincere. Dreg is trying to be sincere and is legitimately becoming stressed out here, and Destiny kind of coldly tells him to be more ironic. Again, I get they're busting his balls in a lighthearted manner, but I also think this is actually causing Dreg to be stressed out. And the cracks begin to show, with Dreg feeling pressured for a nuanced argument, but not really being interested enough to dive into the topic with enough depth and not really being given a chance to.
Okay.
Okay.
I've heard this argument before.
Yeah.
Which one?
The argument that like
It's a good one. It's a classic.
the leftists are, you know,
Have houses and drive cars. He's doing the straw man
houses and
version.
drive
Yeah, go
cars.
ahead.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
steal
Do
my
the big
list.
knockdown. To
But
the
no,
straw
it's,
man,
it's not like I've heard all these arguments a million times, and like,
And?
but like I've heard the arguments that the other guys make
Which is?
that you know there's no unethical consumption under capitalism, yada
Which is
yada.
a cringe misunderstanding of what that means, but go ahead.
Yeah, but like I just axiomatically to cut through the noise of like, actually having to hold these thoughts in my head, I just take the side of the most extreme guy, and this guy's more extreme.
They decide to push poor Dreg again on Hasan, and I think this is why the audience thinks this is Destiny and Dan trying to prank Dreg. But anyone who watches the podcast knows that Hasan clips do get shown an awful lot, and Dreg is a political satirist, so I'm not convinced this is an elaborate bit. Like, yeah, once they realize Dreg is uncomfortable, they obviously do keep pushing more and more Hasan clips on him, but I think it's kind of like off the cuff. And so it's possibly a bid to like punk him before he punks them, but I think there's more sincerity here than people think.
So wait, who's more status quo? Is it you or Hasan?
Well, the status quo is radical right now.
Yeah. It's cool to be fringe. You know?
Yeah, it is very cool to be fringe.
And it's not cool to be like realistic. It's only cool if you're endorsing.
Look, I'm just gonna. I don't like this Hasan guy.
Do you mean that, or are you just saying it?
I want to. I hate him. If I saw him on the streets,
In a video game, careful, you don't mean that. No violent threats here.
I feel like you're being ironic also.
I'd give him I'd give him a handshake.
How many
call-
times was Hasan banned from Twitter? Oh, never.
Never.
How many times have I been banned from Twitter? Like, I have like 8 accounts that have been banned. And I'm currently banned from Twitch. How many times has Hasan been banned from Twitch? Never. So
Never?
who's more radical now?
Okay,
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You fucking Zog. Let's go.
But what's that? More Hasan clips? Despite Dreg increasingly expressing a lack of interest and discomfort, yes, more Hasan clips.
Hasan describes America's Zionism for white people. Do you know what Zionism is, Mr. Dreg?
I'm familiar.
What is it? In your own words.
It's the first letter of Zog. It's the first word that the Z means. The Zog acronym.
Okay.
Do Canadians really say Zed?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
They have
sad.
this place called Tim Hortons too. They all call it Timmy's.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Wait, what's the one guy's name?
Tim?
No, Bronan. Brogan.
Yeah.
Neither of those names sounded real. Brogan. Yeah. What are the last 3 letters of the alphabet?
XYZ.
You lied. I caught him in a fucking lie.
That is true. You guys do say Z and not Z.
Yeah, you fucking lie. And you tried to lie too to me.
I don't know what I say.
Fuck both of you.
I only know the propaganda line.
All I know is what I say.
You say Z?
I guess so. I wasn't even aware until I said it.
Now, firstly, I feel seen in this clip. And also, this is just true. Canadians alternate between Z and Z depending on the context. Again, I don't want to be like hyper autistic here and say they thought Dreg was lying because I get they're giving a shit for fun, but I also think they aren't sure if he's lying or not. And just like all the other times, it adds to the growing disconnect between everything Dreg says and everything Destiny believes. But yes, they play more Hasan clips.
If you're owned by an Israeli corporation.
I'm sorry. This is a quick pause. You know that the Houthis weren't targeting only like Israeli-owned ships, right? This is total fucking delusion, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
All right, just okay, go ahead.
Do you know that?
Well, now you know. Okay.
You didn't know that.
Well, I was zoned out.
Why are you zoning out?
He's zogged out.
What are we talking about? Oh, the Houthis. They were targeting Israeli ships.
They were. This is what I feel like when I want to cover politics and you don't, Dan. This is what it feels like.
Right here?
Yeah, right here. I hope you enjoy it. Remember this feeling.
I think this is Dreg expressing increasing disinterest in less and less subtle ways, with Destiny and Dan refusing to pivot. In fact, I think they actually start to get the vibe that's similar to what I saw in some audience reactions, that Dreg is making fun of the podcast. So this all leads to what I think is the part that's actually uncomfortable, where they begin talking about Dreg in a way that I don't think he really appreciates.
You know, you could use this as an opportunity to get more fans and
He doesn't
people.
want these fans.
You don't want any fans?
No, not from these people that
Really?
watch politics. He's trying to branch out artistically.
But all he does is fucking tier lists of like religions.
He
and
does
shit.
way more than that. This is a
No.
creative guy over
That's
here.
no, he wants to be
And
a
you want him
creative
to be
guy.
audience
Please,
captured
please,
by
He
a group
wants
of
to be a
people.
creative guy, but
Just
he's a
wanna get
fucking
mad about
he's a
fucking
failure.
failure.
Play more song.
Failure.
I don't want.
I've seen all this shit.
you're
It's
fucking-
so bad. It's
just
like
play this
all
song.
rabbits ranked from top to bottom,
No, I
and that's
just
his
wanna-
like most viewed
just
video.
wanna
And it
play
goes
this
from
song. I
like,
bet he
oh, the
can't- this
brown
guy
rabbit
doesn't
is the
know.
best,
wanna-
and then the
I-
black and white rabbit is second best, and it's like that's all he's known for. He's a rabbit raider. And that's it.
Let's play this
And he's like, I really want to be artistic, and he starts a
I
second
can
channel,
join
and it
you.
gets
We
1,000
can
views a video.
Join you for the song.
You want to watch some Hasan content now? That's fucking right, bitch. That's right. Beg me for some Hasan content.
Please play the song.
All right, I'll give you a little bit more.
Now, of course, Dreg is like playing it up, which is like a totally normal thing to do. If you're not happy with someone, but you want to like maintain levity and still let them know you're uncomfortable. So maybe this entire thing is an autism Rorschach test, but I really think that's what's happening here. Dreg is honestly uncomfortable with how they're talking about his content, and Destiny's starting to get the vibe that Dreg, on some level, thinks he's better than Destiny and Destiny's fans. Now again, everyone here is also taking the piss and also is giving each other shit in that way that bros do, but there is sincerity here in what's happening from all sides, and I do maintain that. And things only become more sincere as the irony begins to fade more and more.
So what's the next clip?
I was getting too frustrated there. I was becoming.
This stuff
a
gives you
woman
guys
hater.
dopamine.
Yeah, I'm actually quite doped up right now.
I'm getting a little bit frustrated.
Where's the dopamine come from? It's
From
like,
watching.
You just don't.
you
You know the
see
problem?
the stuff and you're like this guy's wrong, and then you like argument and boom, and then that gives you that.
This is what happens when you actually care about.
When you
something.
actually give a fuck.
Well,
What do
instead
you
of
want to
faking.
watch? Wait, he gets the next video clip. What do you want to watch? What should we do? Give us one.
We can watch one of your videos.
Yeah. No. No. What do you want to watch? Give us a thing to care about right now. This is your opportunity. The audience is captured.
This is a real interaction. It's just drummed up a bit. This is how Dreg truly feels. He thinks there's something corrosive to the human spirit when you're enraptured and enthralled with content that aggravates you. And Destiny, in turn, thinks that Dreg's just being too apathetic. I will live on this hill. Both parties are giving sincere thoughts here, and it builds up into what happens later on his podcast. It is very clear to me, as a fan of Dreg, to tell when he's being sincere. When he's being ironic, it can get hard to discern his true beliefs, but when he's being honest, I don't think it's actually that hard to tell. But I've probably watched more Dreg than Dan and Destiny have, and I have the advantage of watching this in retrospect. But now we get to another point where Dreg is trying to be utterly sincere about how he thinks disaster is on the horizon for many nations, and Dan opines that he wishes he was talking to a person and not a script.
Do I want to watch this? This is just retarded.
Yeah. There's a lot of cope about this because I think it's really difficult to.
Do you have a real thing to say here?
Yeah,
You really
no,
say-
yeah.
You're not fucking around.
Genuine point, not fucking around. I think there's a lot of cope about this because it's actually very difficult to come to terms with the fact
that the world is ending.
Wow. What do you think about that, Dan?
I wish I could talk to a person and not a script.
That's not a script. The world, like, there's genuinely, like, you know, like, there's a lot of places here that are not going to be inhabitable in 50 years, and that's, like, incomprehensible. Like, it actually makes way more sense to think it's a weather manipulation thing from the government.
Weird power dynamics seem to emerge between JREG and Dan, which JREG doesn't seem to like, and this will get worse throughout the podcast.
There ain't nobody left over there. We killed them all.
Yeah.
And you know why I'm saying we. Why are you laughing? Yeah. Tap your nose again.
I feel like there's like a weird power thing going on.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't know what you mean.
It tells me to do things like with like the.
Do you like it when I tell you to do things?
I'm agreeable, so like I'm just aiming to please people, but then I feel like it can be taken advantage of.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm glad that like the both of us, I like telling people to do things. You like being told to do things.
I never said I liked being told to do things.
Destiny becomes increasingly frustrated with JREG's disinterest in talking politics and makes him watch, you guessed it, another Hasan clip.
Instead of reading this article, can you do me a favor and close this out and go watch one more Hasan clip?
Sure. I know you love Hasan.
Yeah, just real quick
I
before
feel
you
like
get to
there
this
is
JREG
something
video.
going on here. There must be something going on.
What's that puff piece one? Go ahead and click that tweet.
You already watched that.
No, the one above. Or his friend is writing an article on Aiden Rossman, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a world where you...
Excuse me. Real quick, it's time to listen to the song clip.
And JREG is not into this. He's picking up that they're starting to do a bit on him, and I don't think this is entirely friendly. They start watching some JREG videos, and Destiny questions him on what he really thinks in one of his latest videos. JREG is unwilling to say it, and even when he says it, it's not entirely clear if he's being sincere. This is a bit of a longer clip, but I think it's important as it addresses all the stages of irony.
Dirty centrist.
I like to hear it.
So I started looking
Pause.
more into Jamal Bowman, and I was liking what I was seeing.
Pause.
What was the point of this? What's going on here?
Well, I mean, he's saying he hates centrists. What's up with that?
No, he's on a meta irony level. So what are we trying to convey here ultimately?
The truth of what I am actually trying to convey here is like it's, you know, you're asking a guy to, there's like, it's a Mandelbrot test, you know, you look at it, you see what you want to see. But there's like an underlying message there, but I'm too scared to say it now. I feel like
it's like I'm fucking shaking a magic 8-ball.
I feel like it wouldn't go well with the
for a
with
fucking
the
answer.
crowd.
Anytime I ask a goddamn
I feel
question.
like you guys wouldn't.
Is there
like the
anyone in there?
underlying message.
Is there any real thoughts in there? Give me something.
There is
drag
but
thought.
You guys aren't gonna like it.
All right, then fucking say it.
You're not gonna like it.
That's okay.
It's just literally just anti-Israel. It's like just the whole thing is like I'm just anti-Israel in this entire video.
You're anti-Israel in this video.
Yeah, you say the Zog, like that's an anti-Semitic term.
Yes, I understand that.
Well, but it seemed like you were satirizing
I keep
the
enough
people that talk about the Zog. So are you satirizing people that are anti-Israeli, or are you just anti-Israeli, but it's so goofy it comes across as satire, but it's seriously a critique of Israel? Well,
I've never told a joke in my life.
like when I say Hitler was he had some points. Am I making fun of myself for saying something so dumb? Am I making fun of Jewish people by agreeing with Hitler? Am I making fun of people that are Nazis that would say that, and it's obviously stupid? Or am I making fun of Jewish people that would accuse me of being anti-Semitic, so I'm so outwardly anti-Semitic, it comes off as a joke, but it's actually used to mask the fact that I am anti-Semitic by way of meta-ironic humor that's unassailable because it's so obviously stupid, and I would be laughing at the obvious stupidity for it, except for the fact that I genuinely do think he had some good points.
We're speaking the same language.
Yeah.
We're speaking the same language
Okay.
there. Level 0, sincerity, I'm saying what I mean. Level 1, irony, I just say the opposite of what I mean, and you know what I'm talking about pretty clearly. Level 2, you know, you start getting like meta-ironic, and it's like, what does it mean? You guys start doing that pontification thing you were doing there, and that gets annoying pretty
Don't
quickly.
worry, I've watched your video on this like 4 years ago.
Right, yeah. And then if we were to go to like level 3, eventually you start getting tired of the pontificating, and you're like, okay, I have to. People are calling me out on being like a nihilist or something, so I have to like actually start pushing something.
Are you a nihilist?
No.
Now, this is the point where I do think that JREG is being too irony poisoned. The video they're talking about here, which is this video, is incomprehensible to me. I generally know what the main point of a JREG video is, but to be honest with this one, I had no idea. And so I can't tell for the life of me if JREG is being sincere here when he says the point of the video is anti-Israel, especially with what he says next, which is that he supports pan-radicalism.
because I'm actually pushing something with all the videos that I do.
Really? What's that?
You're not gonna like it. It's like pan-radicalism, and like the radicals don't like Israel, so I adopt that.
You don't like Israel?
No, because the
Well,
far
some
left and the
radicals
far right.
like Israel.
Yes, but those aren't in the mainstream, so I can't appeal to them. There's not enough of them.
But we know that JREG is actually a centrist, albeit one who has played an anti-centrist for so long that he himself has gotten a bit lost in his own sauce, but I have a hard time believing he's in support of any view as long as it's radical. So the anti-Israel thing kind of sounded sincere, but then following it up with this makes me think his entire explanation is ironic. And this gets to a major issue with all of this. JREG is someone who seems to think and feel deeply, and is someone who's openly struggled with suicidal ideation and mental health issues. I think this is a good example of irony going too far and leading to meaninglessness, unless JREG has actually moved from being a centrist to an unironic pan-radicalist, but I think that's unlikely and certainly would be the sadder of the two options.
So you canvassed with the far left to defeat Zog. Is this an ironic video?
Didn't you follow the
I mean,
conversation?
that's what I
we had?
did. That's what I did.
I know that you did that.
So, like, what part of it is ironic? What are you asking? Is the whole thing ironic? There's like a level. I did some performance art, I guess.
Performance art.
A little bit?
A little bit, but like the performance art that I do is the whole point is like everything I've done has bled into my identity. Like I am what I'm doing. I don't know if there's
That's
anything
not good.
like that.
Is
You
there
know what
anything
movie-
left of you that
No.
fucking has an original thought?
Do you know what he's like?
Where is the you?
So Dan calls him out in what I think is a fair way. It is becoming increasingly difficult to find the real JREG, which on one level I appreciate and understand, but on another level, you can't have become so ironic that you can't interact with the outside world because no one takes you seriously. Now, I get that JREG has real life friends and family, and I'm sure they know his beliefs and thoughts, but it does make it increasingly difficult for new people or people who aren't close to him to tell the difference. And I don't think JREG has done this intentionally. I think he has gone too far by accident and now is in a position he doesn't like, and this will come to a boiling point soon. And then we get to more Hasan, because of course we do, and JREG tries to ask, what's going on?
Wait. Can you scroll for a second? Did we miss any Hasan clips?
Can I stop here? Can I stop and just like examine what's going on?
Yes.
Is there a love for Hasan?
No.
But
While
you
you answer that, I'm gonna get in our drink.
But like he clearly gives you a lot of dopamine when he's wrong.
Okay, I get a lot of dopamine from crack cocaine. Does that mean I have a love for crack cocaine?
crack?
So?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Thank you. There's not. Have you ever done
Is
crack
he like
before?
crack?
No, I'm just saying that like I was demonstrating the absurdity of your statement.
What is the fixation on Hasan?
There is no fixation on Hasan.
But like we watched 5 Hasan clips, and then you're like, okay, I want to
because
watch
he's
another
big in the
Hasan.
news right now. If you would have come here on a day when Mount Vesuvius had exploded, would you be interrogating us about how obsessed we are about volcanoes?
I'm not even saying it's a bad.
I never said you said it was a bad thing. I'm just remarking
I
on
am
how
kinda
strange it
curious.
is that you happen to criticize the first segment we have by assuming that we're obsessed with the segment.
It's a lot of Hasan
Yeah, because he was big in the news right now.
for the Houthi thing and the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Hezbollah thing.
Yeah.
Then we move into a meta conversation about JREG in front of JREG that JREG clearly does not appreciate. Just watch his facial expressions during this next exchange. This is another long clip, but I think it's worth it, both because I think what Destiny and Dan say is actually very insightful, but also because it's one of the things that really seems to start to tip JREG over the edge into insanity, both in terms of his frustration with Destiny and Dan, but possibly at the reputation he's created for people who aren't neck deep in his content. I think he's realizing that for people who aren't critical enough or invested enough, it becomes hard to distinguish what's a bit and what's not, and that can lead to people thinking he's even more irony poisoned than he actually is.
Look,
No, the show or my joke?
The show.
look.
Oh, okay, true.
You flew me down from Canada.
Yeah.
I came to Miami, beautiful city. I'm having a great time.
Good.
Are you actually?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's a
I'd
great
like
time.
to think that we're. You know what? I hope that we're giving this guy more shit than he's got before. Do you think we are or not?
I don't know.
Is there anyone that's ever given him shit for all this bullshit?
This is like
before?
all my conversations.
Probably all
with
of his
JJ.
friends.
No, because he probably doesn't do it with his friends because they know better and they won't be his friends if he.
I
keeps doing it.
seriously do. He absolutely
No, he
does.
probably
He does
doesn't.
it.
He
He does
doesn't.
it. He does it.
He doesn't do
does.
it with his friends because he wouldn't have friends if he was like this all the time.
No, but they like him. They're like, oh, that's just JREG, dude.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, because then he would show up one day and he would be like, "I hate black people," and be like, "What's?" We
That's
can't
the
go-
whole point of being a goofball, so that you can actually do
Yeah, but then
crazy
they can't
shit.
go out with him that day and be like, "Okay." it's
Why can't they go out with him? They're like,
because
that's
they don't
JREG.
know-
He's
they don't know
random.
they don't know the person behind the face.
You don't have to know the person behind the face. You get this ease.
Then it means nothing.
Imagine you can befriend a thing that can be whatever you want it to be at any point in time.
Yeah, but
you can make
it
them.
can't be what you want it to be. It's whatever it wants to be at that moment.
No, because you can always reclassify whatever they do in whatever way you want.
You think
so when
we can make
JREG
him?
says something that you like, you can agree with it. And when he says something you don't like, you can go, he's being ironic. It's the perfect friend.
Yeah, but that doesn't work though.
It does work.
We have to make him do what we want to do.
No,
Then it'll work.
you don't understand. Anything he does can be reframed as something we want it to be.
Really.
So when this episode ends, you and I can choose.
So when he says he hates Israel, that's a joke.
It could be.
But when he says he loves Hezbollah, that was ironic.
Maybe. Exactly.
So he's always agreeing with us
If we want him to be.
if we want him to be.
So right now, when this episode ends, we
Yeah.
could go, oof, that was like really cringe. Or we could say, that was epic. But whether it was or wasn't is our choice because of the ironic disposition that he takes. So in a way, he's like the perfect anything. Do you understand?
He's really kind of like nothing though, you know? Like if
Well,
you notice-
nothing and anything are kind of synonymous in that way,
Yeah, he's just like a hollow husk of a whatever we want him to be.
But a husk in the best way because we can fill that with whatever content we choose to do so.
Is there like a person you think behind there, or you think it was like kind of like one of the AI ChatGPT things?
Well, then the real question is anybody a person? Because we can all misinterpret each other
That
at all
is true.
points in
I
time.
can't really trust like other people.
Because two different people can have different opinions on the same actions from the same person. So in a way, JREG is like a stand-in for anybody, right? Yeah, I guess in a way it is kind of like Charlie Kaufman. I feel like Synecdoche, New York, everything is the replaceability of people and things and scenes and places. And
You guys ever think about suicide?
sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, play the next clip.
Okay.
Things only devolve from here when Dan makes Dreg feel bad enough for Dreg to call him out.
But okay. All right, Charlie Kirk. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Good. Good boy.
I don't like this. I don't like the dynamic. I don't like the dynamic we've like fallen into.
What dynamic?
Like this thing that just happened, like the good boy. I don't like that.
What do you want
I
it to
don't
be then?
appreciate that.
What do you want it to be?
I find it like
I've never dealt with a real performance artist
it
before.
like
so
rubs
this is
me
new
the
to
wrong way. I don't know. I feel icky.
This was a very confrontational, disagreeable moment that you just had right now. Do you feel like you've improved as a person?
I mean, I just feel like I've been.
I feel like I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm just like setting a respectful boundary here. I'm
That's
just letting
good.
you know I don't.
But I'm just saying that was a very disagreeable thing to do. That's
think-
good though. It was a,
I think I'm trying.
He stood up to me, and I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah, that's good. Good for you. Good for you.
To Dan's credit, he does maintain levity while at the same time letting Dreg know he won't do it again. And Dan still isn't sure if even this request is sincere, but it is. But at least he's backing down on the off chance that it is sincere. Now we see Dreg briefly interrupting Destiny, and Destiny performatively goes off, but in an aggro way.
Oh my God, it's Schedule 4.
So how are they buying it?
Can you Schedule 4
I mean,
means you can't.
I bought. This is how
Did you
I know.
notice how I was right in the middle of speaking a sentence and you fucking interrupted me? Schedule 4 means.
What's your why is your disposition like this? Like, what's this do?
What do you mean?
It's just like just all the time.
I have to have a disposition to want to be able to speak freely and uninterrupted?
You could have handled that better.
I'm sorry, what would you like me to say next time you cut me off in the middle of my
You're like,
sentence?
oh, sorry, just 1 sec here, and then I probably would have stopped.
Okay.
Would have been a kinder way to interact.
Okay. Can you give me 1 fucking second, please? Is that okay?
I feel like it's still there. It's still there.
Okay. Well, deal with it. Okay. Schedule 4. Can you buy that? Like, what does over the counter mean?
I think it's here where we really see things begin to crack. Destiny thinks Dreg is being ironic, and Destiny already likes shit testing people on anything else and giving him a hard time. And if you've watched this podcast before, you certainly know what I mean. But he's going even harder than usual, and perhaps Destiny thinks Dreg is in on it, perhaps not, but Dreg is not liking this and is becoming more and more evident. Because Dreg is getting uncomfortable with all this, his social politeness begins breaking down, and he stops laughing at Destiny's jokes.
I think you could have powered through that one.
No.
No.
Oh,
No.
you
No.
absolutely can't.
You
This
don't-
community's brutal.
You know
it's
what?
one of the worst things about my community.
You can't.
The pedantic.
It's like, do you know how when like your ancestors heard about what was going on, but they still lived in Poland and like the other camps had opened? That's what it's like. You're just waiting for them to show up and like, oh, misspeak. And you're just like, hide in the attic, you know? It didn't work for everybody, so. What's the next clip?
We then move to taking call-ins to the show, which is where things completely derail. A Ukrainian calls in and has some questions and concerns with a Dreg video on the Ukraine war. Dreg gives a confusing answer that's a mix of various levels of irony and gets pushed to give a real honest answer. It's here where I think Dreg himself is realizing he's become too irony poisoned, both for others to know the truth of what he's saying, but also for him to know.
What do you actually
So
believe?
you believe
So you believe in that Ukraine war was provoked? You think that US has something to do with that?
This guy lives in Ukraine.
Oh.
He probably has some like dead relatives. You think that Russia is right to move into Ukraine and do that because there's a few people that speak Russian in Crimea? Like, should France come into fucking Canada because there's a few French-speaking people in Montreal and kill people? Yes.
That's what he's saying.
Okay.
Wow. Unbelievable.
No, but ironically, why do you believe that, Drag?
Don't let him bully you. He's trying to pressure you.
Give a real answer. Real takes, real answers.
I believe it because the tent pole I've put to orient my identity as a person, I guess, as a character online, but then downstream from that as a person.
I got the
It's just
solution
the
for you.
pan-radical one.
Hold on.
Which is the far left and the far right both have a critique of the military-industrial complex, which basically says the same thing, which is that all wars are bad, basically.
Let me give you. Hold on 1 second, Vince. Why don't you imagine there's another guy at the table, not you, and his name is Greg. And Greg is just a random dude from Canada, and he just asked the question to Greg. Can you answer for Greg? Hypothetically, like a random dude. What would a random dude say to that question he had?
Drag's answer is bizarre, and I don't know if Drag is just being blackpilled on himself, or ironic, or sincere, but it doesn't go over well.
That random dude probably had to make money on the internet at some point and became irony poisoned into believing that.
Jesus. So it's a fucking
So is that
joke?
just about making money?
Is it about making money?
Well, Greg doesn't make any money on YouTube.
Well, he does now that he did an irony poisoned Ukraine video.
I mean, he did one, but it got like 15 views. Rough thinking about that stuff.
What a world.
The Ukraine one did pretty well, actually. It was like 400,000.
Oh, so it sounds like Greg made ching some bank off that.
And the further questions make Drag, I think, begin to feel bad, and in my opinion, makes him really start to question some of the direction of his content, which I think led to the I'm ending the bit video. I think he genuinely is realizing some things here, and it doesn't help that Destiny and Dan are kind of being faux mad / shitty about it in a sardonic way.
I
settling butter.
fundamentally completely understand where that question's coming from. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me deeply uncomfortable. That's really all I can say.
Imagine how uncomfortable
It is
he
to
must
actually
feel
be in
now.
fucking Ukraine and have people being killed. There's
Yeah.
real consequences.
There's
to
real
our
consequences.
videos.
That's fucking
It's not all.
insane.
At the end of the day, it's not all fucking stupid Americans like me and Steve.
It's
There's
real shit out here in the streets.
There's real people that have their lives
Real
fucked
people.
up.
Yeah.
Like this dude.
And now we finally come to the question that starts the meltdown. A new caller asks if it's hard to be doing a bit all the time, but as we've discussed, Drag is not doing a bit all the time, and none of them seem to have watched his content enough or understood his content enough to realize that.
Isn't it hard that nobody ever knows if you're being sincere or not, even if you're feeling bad?
People know. I have people in my life, real people.
Is it, what did he say? Is it
Is it hard being Andy Kaufman all the time?
I'm not Andy Kaufman all the time. I don't know where people get this idea from. I have actual human beings in my life that I have meaningful relationships with. I share a lot with them. They mean a lot to me, and I actually value human connection a lot. And I've never implied the otherwise.
Dan then comes up with a fucked up hypothetical about Dreg being with his girlfriend for years on end, only to then tell her the entire thing is a bit and that he never really loved her. This precipitates the full, complete meltdown, and I can see why. Dreg is ironic, but he's not a nihilist. He has values. He deeply cares about adding social value to the world, and he puts a high priority on building and maintaining intimate relationships. So for someone to suggest that he would actually do this to a loved one, I get why that makes him very upset. He is trying to be sincere, and he realizes he is unable to convince any of them, and this happens.
Imagine if you were like his girlfriend or wife, and you like, imagine you woke up one day and he was like, trolled bitch, I never loved you. Oh my God. That would be like the craziest
Wouldn't
thing
do that.
ever.
Haven't done that. Wouldn't do it.
Haven't done it yet.
Nope. Well, also wouldn't do it. It goes against my values as a human being.
But what about if it became very contrarian?
Thing to do. Wouldn't be good art. It just harmful. It's like just a post hoc justification of sociopathy.
That's unreal.
I don't like it.
You can
Wouldn't do that.
understand why I would think that, though.
Ooh.
I really feel like no one ever listens to me. I say things and no one fucking listens to me. No one listens to the fucking shit I say.
Okay, just don't make the mic clip. But also, any other
See,
questions,
but this
my
is
dude?
the post-ironic problem.
No! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! Shut up! Okay? I am telling you! I am telling you!
Go to the.
I am telling you, I have meaningful relationships with human beings. I'm not in fucking character all the time. So, you know.
Dude, I love it, dude. That's awesome. Dude,
Kick
keep
this
it
guy
up.
out.
That's
He's ruining
fucking
it. Kick
hilarious.
him out. Kick this guy out.
No meta conversations, please.
Kick him out.
All right.
Drag then sits in silence, controlling his breathing as he rapidly blinks and stares straight ahead. Drag is clearly upset, and this is not a bit. It might be exaggerated, but there is clear pain here. This isn't acting. We've seen Drag act and do bits over and over and over, and this ain't it. This, in my opinion, is real. He remains silent, his head starts to tilt forward, his body unmoving, as Dan and Destiny continue to joke and act like nothing just happened. Destiny and Dan then play one of Drag's videos as he maintains a blank expression. At the end, he clearly wipes a tear from his cheek. Again, this is not a bit.
Do-ba-dee-doo, I've got poor mental health. Do-ba-dee-doo, I want to kill myself. Do-ba-dee-doo.
And you aren't much help.
9.
What do you use for editing?
Final Cut.
He's a Mac user, you could tell.
But again, we've established that Destiny and Dan don't know if this is a bit or not. I don't think they're familiar enough with Drag's content, but either way, they still don't back down and keep giving him shit.
Another epic. What was the point? What was the point? Oh yeah, you're gonna answer this.
Are you being ironic, by the way?
You're for the first time in his whole life. Everybody, hold on. JREG is about to be genuine and serious for one moment. Go ahead.
For your question.
Yeah,
only.
for your question, McFarlane.
Not for anyone else's.
Yeah. What do you got?
Hold on, wait.
No. Yeah.
The real Greg answers.
The real JREG. Go ahead.
I'm so sincere so often.
They take a new caller who asks Drag what he was saying with his incel music video, a video whose interpretation is quite clear, that incel behaviors are often toxic, but that it's kind of gross for people to have this tendency to shit on incels who themselves are clearly down bad and mentally unwell. Drag talks fully sincerely with this guy, or at least he tries to, but Destiny won't let him. This leads to Drag making a bit of a threat about Dan and Destiny live on the Anything Else podcast. It's a bit of a longer clip, but it really shows the dynamic that's unfolded.
I think that's probably what that video is.
JREG was actually making fun of the people that think that.
Oh, it was like meta.
No.
And now he's making fun of you for not getting that.
Yeah, so I think that was a good articulation. I think that there's something icky about, really going hard after like an individual who is clearly going through a hard time. I just find that icky. And I was subscribed at the time to some, forums or subreddits or in meme pages or whatever that were making fun of the incels really hard like that. And I was like, that feels a little icky. So I made some art about it.
He keeps using the word icky. That's like a meme. You understand that, right? Like this is a meta troll. This answer is.
I think your articulation was a good articulation.
He's saying it as the character in the song. The whole point of the song was that there are people who say, "Wow, incels have a huge problem," but also there are people that like just shit on these incels all day long, and it's not okay to just shit on them because they have real problems. So the person who's saying that is in and of themselves partaking in the society of shitting on people without actually fixing into the problems. Because instead of fixing the problems with incels, they're just shitting on the people that shit on incels, like they're any better than the people that shit on the incels, that are any better than the people that shit on the women. And now he's like making fun of you for thinking that you agree with the character, but you're on the wrong level for the video.
So I don't think the art that I make is very complicated. I don't think it's that hard to parse. And I think that's a good example.
And he's making fun of your simplicity right now. Yeah, it's so easy to understand, bro. Yeah, you've parsed it. You got it, dude. He feels icky. Good job, man.
I mean, my art is like an articulation of like a kind of. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, why would you?
I thought you meant me to go ahead.
No. Why did you?
Well, he wasn't smart enough to get it.
Can you believe he actually thought that was the message of your video? God, that guy was I can't believe he missed it so hard.
I can believe it.
You think so?
You know that scene in Joker where the guy gets invited on the talk show and he kills the host?
Yeah. What about it?
I'm just thinking about that.
What part of it?
We would never shoot you.
Yeah. I wouldn't shoot you.
Okay.
I'm strapped, though. Did you get a gun when you came down here?
So just to be clear, if that ever was an analogy.
And I practice
you would be
every
the
day.
host.
You
Yeah.
think I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
We're not joking. We are Joker, but we're not joking. And
so if you think this is going to be one of those situations, you're fucking mistaken.
You're absolutely wrong.
Listen. You hear that, right? That's 15 shots of 9mm.
You hear that, right? That's
Hollow
15
point.
liters of cum.
JREG then completely checks out, slumps back in his chair, and stays like this for 3 entire minutes. This is at 4,000% speed, by the way. JREG remains either dissociated or disinterested for the remaining 30-some painful minutes of this podcast, and the discussions that do happen seem awkward. JREG then says that his sadness was, surprise, surprise, not a bit. And at least Dan seems to think he's sincere here, but I'm not sure if Destiny does.
The bit was that I'm not Jewish. I'm Lebanese.
Ooh. Like Wonderbox.
Yeah.
Ooh, like
Letterboxd.
Nasrallah.
Yeah.
Wonderbox is... Wait, but that's the whole bit, the whole thing? You did the... I thought you got progressively more sad as the episode went on.
No, that was real.
Oh.
That wasn't a bit.
Oh.
JREG asks point blank if Destiny actually enjoyed this. He clearly felt uncomfortable and felt the hostility from Destiny and Dan, but especially Destiny. But Destiny, as he himself later clarified, so I'm not just talking out of my ass, felt the entire time that he couldn't trust what was a bit and what was not a bit. I think this is why he was being intentionally aggro the whole time and not actually allowing JREG to be sincere at all.
Did you enjoy this?
Yeah.
This was... was there a point where you were, like, not enjoying it?
No, I enjoy everything I do.
The whole time? Because, like, remember it was, like, 45 minutes, and you're like, oh, 45 more minutes.
Do you like not breathing?
Do I like not breathing? No.
Do you like swimming?
I like swimming.
Sometimes when you're swimming, you're not breathing, but you enjoy the whole event of swimming. And that's what this podcast is like sometimes.
Okay, that's a solid answer. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I like the whole amount of it. He sometimes wants to end early. I think that it could be because he's hungry.
Uncomfortable.
Well, I didn't say anything about wanting to end early.
Well, it's more awkward for me.
That's the bit, actually. The bit I'm doing is I want to end the podcast early.
This was a shit show. I hope I've demonstrated why I think this podcast is a mix of JREG doing a bit, Destiny and Dan doing a bit, JREG being sincere, and also JREG just simply breaking down. The whole thing was uncomfortable, but also good to watch. I think it highlights the issues with irony and how there is a level of irony that you can get to that makes it so that people who aren't close to you or aren't big fans of you can have trouble discerning the truth. JREG is edging into that territory, especially recently, and it causes these interactions to become a bit poisonous. I think a lot of JREG's content is very clear for any thinking person who takes the time to do so, like the incel video. But some of his content, like the Destroying Zog video, in my opinion, crosses the line into being too irony poisoned for even a fan of JREG, in this case me, to parse. I think JREG's new video, I'm Ending the Bit, both acknowledges this and also highlights JREG's conscious inability to stop doing bits, with the video about ending the bit itself turning into a bit. I don't know. Let me know what you think about the video in the comments below. Anyway, I'll leave JREG to close this out.
I feel like there's something wrong with this medium.
What medium?
Like the whole thing that we all do. I feel like there's something wrong with it.
Like human communication?
No. Specifically, like the online, the internet stuff. Like there's something here.
Okay.
I think there's something wrong with all of this.
If I could have hair like him, I would fucking do it all day, every day. Your hair is gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you.
Man.
Anything else?